And inevitably they don't have that love for how awesome they are. Like anybody watching this, you and me, we've gone through hard times in life. You wouldn't be here if you haven't overcome that struggle. But not often are we celebrating that, because we also demonize ego.
Right.
Ego is demonized as bad. Ego is not inherently bad. Like, if I want to be great, I have to believe in my own greatness. I have to talk. Like when I talk to myself, if I talk to myself in the mirror, like it's other people watching me might think I'm egotistical, but it's not that. It's just I have to own my own greatness to do the kind of things that I'm doing, right? And so that's where it's important to. I've been in seminars where they'll do this bragging exercise where, let's say you and me are a pair. For 2 minutes, we'll have to just brag how awesome we are. And some people get horrifically uncomfortable about it, like just so like I can't do it, and you can see because inevitably they don't have that love for how awesome they are. Like anybody watching this, you and me, we've gone through hard times in life. You wouldn't be here if you haven't overcome that struggle. But not often are we celebrating that, And I was at a time, to your point about self-empathy, where I would run 10 miles and be pissed off I didn't run 12. I'd run 12, I'd be angry I didn't run 20. If I ran 20, I'd be angry, so on and so forth. And that's just a miserable way to live, man.
It is.
And so now, like, I'll acknowledge the wins that, all right, good job, you did this, and I'm still looking, where can I improve? But I'm loving myself for at least what I'm doing, and I think pausing that, and that comes with practice, recognizing that ego and humility, two sides of a duality, it's not a one or the other, it's a both and can coexist. And both those must coexist. That's how you find a greater sense of that inner peace.
Yeah. Do you feel that because our society is so focused on duality that there's a disconnect on the coexistence of it? Like, it's like it has to be one or the other.
Yeah.
And the disconnect is in the understanding of how balance fits into it?
Yeah, no, it's a great point. And I do think that, that's why in Eastern religions like Buddhism, you'll see a lot of like books on non-duality, non-dualism, oneness. Right. So you see a little bit more of that, and sometimes there's sort of the Eastern philosophies and Eastern religion. But I think our world has become more separated, creating separation instead of oneness. Right. And we could spend an hour talking about examples of that. But but I think that like playing when you step out into the arena, like a good way to make this very actionable. Like one thing I do is I will always look for what duality is causing me the most friction and play on the other end of that duality. So for example, when I was sharing with you about how I was like always just angry at myself, like running 10 miles, angry at run 12, whatever, right? I was very, very good at suffering, but I noticed that I was bringing like suffering in every context of my life, even just day to day, I was miserable, and I was like, all right, if I look at this from a duality, suffering and play, and again, semantics aside, use whatever word you want. Sure. Let me go on the other side. So like, as an example, when I was in this phase of my life, I remember once seeing a sign that said 5K fun run. And there was visceral disgust, not even emotion, like not even a conscious choice. It was like subconscious disgust at the idea of a fun run. You don't run for fun, you run to suffer. That's the only reason you should be running. And that's absurd, right? Like that was absurd. It was not healthy. And so I was like, all right, now let me go play in this side. Let me do lighter things. Let me be playful. Let me go for a run where I'm not measuring my distance and just having fun, however much it is, listening to music, whatever I need to do, right? And by playing on the other edge of this duality, now, of course, if you lay that on a spectrum, I will always be someone who leans towards the suffering side, considering what I do. But now it's a choice. It's not just the subconscious forces controlling me. I've gone to the other edge and I'm playing on it. And that's how you find oneness. That's how you find where you lie on it. That's also how you find the dualities can coexist. Like I can be suffering on a hard tire drag and still be playful and have a sense of humor about it. And often I do. But that wasn't me a long time ago. So before I went into the darkness, my duality was control and surrender. So that was a duality I was playing with because I'm a giant control freak. My world is in my hands, I will control it. Now, in the darkness, you surrender to the mysticism of the universe, like that conversation with God, And so I'm always looking for a duality to play with and to experience the other edge, and that's how you start to see how they can coexist and how they can kind of find oneness in that.
Love that. So duality is more of a barometer for you on the spectrum of coexistence.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I know. We've had these conversations about, like, we hear hot and cold, right? But, sometimes scientists will say, well, is there really cold? Is it just hot and less hot?
And less hot, yeah.
And so when we talk about love, what an opportunity to see that coexistence spectrum and recognizing that, hey, it's all love. Because you can have love without fear and all that. But I don't know if you can have fear without love, because usually what you love or something. Love is a part of it in some way,
I
whether it's
100%
yourself
agree.
or
Yeah.
someone else or something else. Like it's that. And so in the end, it is all love. And I was having a conversation with someone who's really struggling with, well, like, okay, that's great. If I'm not depressed, or I'm not fear, or I'm not, all these things those are actually feelings. Okay, that's great. But how can I just be loving all the time? Like, that doesn't even make sense. Like that doesn't register. And so kind of Amber and I were kind of chatting through it, and we're like, we're not asking you to like, the question is not about the doing. If love is the base, then that's what we all are. So all we're doing is saying, be what you already are. And the fear and the stress or the joy or anything on that spectrum is an experience of love. So you're never not love, is the true reality of it. That's the beauty of the coexistence. And that's the beauty of recognizing this as a spectrum. And so when you're taking this as a tool for a barometer to say, okay, well, if I'm always going to be on the spectrum, which is, as you place it, the immortal self is kind of that spectrum, then the mortal self is kind of playing in that spectrum to understand itself. And so I can like, I am love. Like that's what I feel at the very core, both immortal and mortal. But I still feel emotion. I still feel joy, and I feel sadness. And like, because like what we were talking about in the beginning of this month, Amber and I were sharing, well, so many people talk about, feeling empathy, and this focus is fully on suffering. Well, what if I want to have empathy for your joy? What if I want to have empathy for your bliss? Like, why can't I meet you there? It's the same thing. It's just a frequency. It's, as you said, it's just a choice.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's beautiful. I love that. And I think to that point, I always say that fear is not the enemy of love. Fear is an expression of love. To your point of how fear can, and I think it's sometimes framed as the opposite, but by doing that, I've often heard sometimes we'll say love, there's only two ways of being, love and fear. But I don't think that's an opposite. To your point, I think love is the base. I mean, like I said, there was a point where I was not scared of dying because I didn't love my life. Today I am scared of dying, and I love my life. Why are we scared of losing someone? Because we love them. Like that, and when you start seeing, like there was somebody I was working with who was terrified of public speaking. He was trying to eliminate the fear and fight it. And I said, why are you scared? And he was like, I got this message. And I was like, you're scared because you love your message and you love the people you want to talk to.
Right.
And suddenly by reframing the fear as that expression of love, it altered. I'm not saying that means the fear goes away, but it changes how you relate to it. And it doesn't need to go away. I mean, dude, I do the most insane things in the world, as you know. And I will be scared at like the most minute things. Like the other day, I was messaging a girl on a dating app. I was having more butterflies in my stomach and anxiety and fear than like staring into a polar storm in Antarctica where I've lost fingers, Like, and my friends are like, dude, what's wrong with you? Like, but the thing is now, and there was a time where I would be like, if I felt fear, I would talk to myself like, man up, like stop, like you should stop being afraid. Now I don't care when it's there. Like, be there. Cool. Hey, you do you, like you be there. It's okay that you're there. It's okay that this fear is there. I don't have to let it define my actions. I can choose outside of it. I can choose with it. I can choose like when you channel fear, as I said, fear kills complacency. Fear is profound in like I want to be scared of what I'm about to do in Antarctica. If I wasn't scared, that'd be a problem. There would be something wrong if I wasn't scared, So whenever it shows up, even if it's the most seemingly mundane thing or the most extreme thing where I could die, let it be there. I don't care when it's there. I just accept it and use it,